Since the earliest days of movie making, the genre of the Lost World and its prehistoric denizens is one that always seems to die out, only to be rediscovered once again. From B-movies and cult films to modern blockbusters, we are the raiders of the lost genre. So Dave,
Yeah,
today we are watching The Valley of Gwangi.
there it is.
Valley of Gwangi. Valley of Gwangi is a classic of Harryhausen's stop-motion animation technique,
Yeah.
where all of his dinosaurs and other creatures are, well, most of the dinosaurs and creatures in this are made via one man who was an artisan using his stop-motion technique, where it's literally, a puppet with joints in it where he could move it one.
I'm feeling better about this personally because even the worst stop motion, I feel at least has an edge over like the most mediocre costume.
Well, fortunately, this is not the worst stop motion because
This
man
saying,
was the pioneer.
even
Secondary pioneer.
even bad stop motion, I feel like, so if you have monster movies, you get your costume, you get your stop motion.
Right.
Bad stop motion is 100 times better than a mediocre costume. So stop motion already has a one-up, and plus this is Harryhausen, so it's like.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is not my favorite Harryhausen film, but it is a good Harryhausen film, and it is a nice little detour between his Sinbad films and his Greco-Roman type fantasy films. But in this case, we have Cowboys versus Dinosaurs, essentially, where they find a lost valley, and in this lost valley is, of course, lost creatures. So
here's what I'm interested to see. So in the last movie we watched, we had a know-it-all scientist who was like dinosaurs and plants and whatever. I'm like, okay, so he knows what he's talking about. But then he went a step further to be like, when they were like, oh, there's humans around here. He says, oh, they didn't exist back now. Now is now, fool. It's not the Jurassic. So I'm wondering if we'll have another scientist to be like, that shouldn't exist because this is not.
I think you have the scientist character, and I was trying to remember the girl's name because you have a scientist, you have an American, and then you have the Italian babe playing the Mexican babe, I think, if I remember correctly. Or maybe it's in Spain. I can't remember. But either way, she's hot. So.
Yeah, I'll take it. Let's see what happens.
All right. Well, so this will be the Valley of Gwangi. Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right.
This guy's a pirate. He's got a little pirate.
In the 1960s, I can't think of anything that could have grabbed a child's imagination faster than a movie with both cowboys and dinosaurs. Personally, I don't remember the first time I saw this one, presumably as a child. It didn't get the replays that Sinbad or Clash of the Titans got. No matter what, Valley of Gwangi wasn't my favorite of stop-motion master Ray Harryhausen's films, but it is growing on me with its subsequent viewings. Maybe I just wasn't into westerns as a kid, or maybe I wasn't into the characters. The time marches on, and Gwangi has found a place in my heart.
Only by an old woman's tongue.
One day he will learn to obey the law of Gwangi. Or, like his brother, he will perish.
In the Mexico desert around the turn of the last century, a dying gypsy man is found with a bag containing a small, struggling animal. The creature turns out to be a tiny prehistoric horse, an Eohippus.
Well, if that don't beat all.
Now owned by cowgirl T.J. Breckenridge, played by a beautiful but redubbed Hila Golan, and her struggling rodeo. Her former lover, Tuck, returns from his time with Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, suggesting he buy her out. That all changes when he sees the tiny horse she's training, now dubbed El Diablo.
Get out, I said.
I know exactly who that man is.
Honey.
He is a failed clone of Charlton Heston.
To the point where they even used him as a failed clone of Charlton Heston in Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Good.
Yeah,
Just worried about that horse up there with you.
believe you 100%.
Things take a turn for the worse, though, when a local paleontologist named Professor Bromley hears that Diablo came from a hidden valley where there are presumably more. Because the old blind gypsy woman, Tia Zorina, says anything brought back from the Forbidden Valley brings a curse.
From there came the little horse. And until he is returned, a great evil will fall upon us.
Rubbish.
I
When?
It's happening now.
Curses are so vague.
Bromley conspires with her to get the horse stolen and taken back home, so the professor can discover its origins.
But I mean, they are following the grand tradition of cowboys through the filter of the 60s, aka not dirty or angry or violent or drunk at all.
Following galloping gypsies racing through the desert via his own whining jackass is a bit ridiculous, though. As scientists go, he's not the brightest bulb. Fortunately, Tuck's on the trail with TJ's cowboys close behind, including the duplicitous Carlos, who has it out for Tuck.
El Diablo!
They see El Diablo sprint into a hidden cave, which it turns out leads to the Forbidden Valley. The group wasn't cursed before, things are certainly starting to look suspect. Our group of glory hunters fight amongst themselves, berate Professor Bromley, habitually misplace 10-year-old Lope, and ultimately have one of their horses carried off by a pteranodon.
This also is a bizarre thing to watch, but it is nice to see a human getting abused by an animal for a change.
But inside the strange gorge of wonders, the cowboys and critter hunters are too busy being wowed.
My cowboy sense is tingling.
The whole pace of the film shifts from a standard western to a hybrid Lost World flick at this point.
Oh, thank God, he got the kid. I was afraid it might hurt one of the horses.
I am legitimately impressed with this shot.
Oh yeah, Harryhausen knew what he was doing.
The cowboys wrangle, wrestle, and run from a host of dinosaurs, and El Diablo is quickly forgotten. Let's catch us a dinosaur is now the theme. Harryhausen's solo skills as the master of creature stop-motion excels from here on out. There's even a scene directly echoed by Spielberg years later in Jurassic Park, when an ostrich-like ornithomimus they're chasing runs right into the jaws of our title character Gwangi, a huge Allosaurus-type creature.
Oh shit!
I just realized Spielberg ripped that off for that shot in Jurassic Park.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
After a classic battle between a Styracosaurus and Gwangi, the cowboys get to roping, literally wrangling the 2-ton dinosaur. Its teeth prove formidable, though, and Gwangi escapes.
Alright.
Queensbury rules, old boy.
Thanks, Carlos. Dick.
Come on. Yes!
There we go.
Eating Carlos and chasing TJ, Tuck, and the riders back to the cave,
Oh, yes!
Brilliant.
which collapses and knocks Gwangi cold.
He opens his mouth and Carlos's head comes out. Guys,
Oh,
I'm fine.
shit!
I
Lupe, don't look!
They bring him back to civilization as a spectacle, but lo! The gypsies must ensure the curse.
And so will you be doomed, all of you, unless the evil one is set free.
Balderdash, my good woman, balderdash.
Tia Zarina releases the beast, getting her dwarf, Bromley, and multiple sightseers killed in the process.
Cursed.
Cursed!
Gwangi battles an elephant and chases Tuck, TJ, and Lope into a huge church cathedral, where the climax of the battle brings the house down on the Allosaurus' sad prehistoric head in a marvelous display of 1960s special effects. An unfortunate aspect of the film is the characters. Everyone is written and acted well, but they're all basically selfish and only nominally likable. Tuck is played by James Franciscus, aka the budget Chuck Heston from Beneath the Planet of the Apes, who always turns in a good performance. As stated before, Gila Golan is not only busty eye candy, but a go-get-'em cowgirl, though quite flighty as a personality.
So just so we're clear, he's like, I don't want to settle down. She's like, please settle down. He says, okay. She says, oh, that settling down shit? Fuck it.
Right.
Got a T-Rex now. Sorry, Allosaur. Got a dinosaur. Don't need to get married.
I got me a Gwangi.
Among her cowboys are Rowdy, Bean, and Champ, the experienced, supportive cowhand that usually couldn't give a crap whether Tuck gets chewed up or not, so long as TJ is okay.
That's
the
actually,
curse!
it's the curse!
The curse is struck!
They all fight amongst themselves as much as work together to make their rodeo a success. Willis O'Brien, the pioneer of stop motion and animator of the original 1933 King Kong, had conceived of Valley of Gwangi decades before but never realized it fully. But Obie was Ray Harryhausen's mentor, and Ray picked up where the old master had left off in tribute to him. He and producer Charles Schneer took the Cowboys vs. Dinosaurs concept and reworked it, though reportedly the director didn't always know what to do with the material. They also chose the early 1900s setting to eliminate the call for the now cliché tanks versus monsters angle. I thought perhaps the Gwangi model, a 12-inch figure animated one frame at a time, was the same one used by Ray for a sequence in the Raquel Welch leather bikini epic 1 million years BC. But apparently not. Harryhausen wanted this creature to be detailed and mysterious, a sort of mix of Allosaurus and T-Rex.
And Gwangi.
And Jerry Mathis as the
The beaver.
His effects are why the movie stands the test of time, and more than enough reason to see this minor, though flawed, classic.
This one, doesn't have some of the technical artistry that, say, Clash of the Titans does, where it's all about lighting and mood and so on. But, on the other hand, for as long as you wait to finally, get into the valley and find the Allosaurus, everything from that point on, it's got the Allosaurus in it.
Right.
Which is pretty impressive. There's a lot of dinosaur action in this one.
That's the great thing about this, and I think that's what tips it for me from being a 5 into something I'll remember and maybe want to go back to.
Right.
But if the acting weren't there, I wouldn't have given a single shit. Like, Tuck, even, like I was telling you, old dude, what's his name, Chuck?
Oh, yeah, Champ.
Champ, Bean, and what? Rowdy.
Right.
Champ, Bean, and Rowdy. Champ was a great character.
Yeah.
I can't think of a character in the last movie we saw where I gave a shit.
The writing is solid because it's like you have these characters who help move things along. They're not necessarily anybody you want to stop and get to know, but they definitely help move things along. And, proper storytelling, especially for the time period. Certain characters get comeuppance.
Yes.
There
is setup for things, and then there's payoff.
By the way,
for things.
by the way, let's give it up for Gwangi for eating Carlos.
I can't, if this movie had not, let's say there was no death whatsoever.
Surprised nobody ate Bean, though.
I kind of thought Bean was going. It was touch and go for Bean, but Carlos had it coming.
Yeah, he did. Okay. Well, I mean, it's not as if there aren't any consequences even for our main preliminary cast, because, I mean, they don't get their money, really.
Right. Everybody ends up a loser in this scenario.
Yeah. So like King Kong, it's essentially supposed to be a tragedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what these things should be.
Yeah, I mean, a proper monster movie.
When you...
On some level or another,
Yeah.
whether it's conscious or subconscious, should be some sort of tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The slow burn, I feel, is going to be a consequence of a lot of these old movies. But
I'm used to old movie pacing. It doesn't bother me up to a point.
Maybe I'm just an overstimulated millennial.
Granted, this was not a big budget picture. That's part of Harryhausen's charm. But even then, this is a time period when special effects, could only be so much. You have to have the drama to lead up to that. To those moments where they actually have to pour money into some sort of visual that may or may not pull off. So, I mean, pacing one way or the other for a film was...
Here's the thing. I'm willing to cut slack during the build-up.
Right. Especially if the actors are worth watching.
Yes, the actors in this...
It's either... It's one, or I should say, one or the other. It's either terrible or worth watching. If the actors are either good...
It needs to be something to make me keep coming back.
Right.
Why am I watching this? Or, I can't believe how good this is.
Yeah.
And this felt like the first half is really slow build.
It is a big build-up. You're right. And it is it managed... We could have got to, the little horse faster.
Way faster.
Yeah, it's true.
Everything could have been truncated.
At least a little bit. On the other hand, you do have a running time to fill out for a major...
That's what I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
I'll forgive the first half, because you need to do the setup, you're trying to save on the budget or whatever.
We're literally watching a master animator get to do his part.
let's get back to the characters because they're the compelling point now.
I don't
we have
know,
a
man.
movie where the characters
You
are
know,
worthwhile.
but that's, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's not that you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to monster movies, is that really the case? How many Godzilla films are there where you're like, can we please cut back to the monsters?
No characters. There's no characters in Godzilla.
Right.
You're there for the monsters.
Right.
This thing lured me in by having great characters.
So your first half and your second half aren't balanced because of that.
Yes.
Because you have all this buildup of characters, and then the second half is all monster action. Okay.
I don't even say all. I just
Right. Well, it is though. I mean, that's something that I found amazing about this.
Yeah.
But who cares? It looks gorgeous.
Right. But unless I'm saying I'm fine with that.
That would have been. Yeah, I guess that would have been nice. It would have been. It would have been cooler to get into the valley sooner.
Yeah.
And have all that build up in the valley.
And then you can continue the build up because the professor comes in and says, "Oh, this fern, this cycad died out 100 million years ago," or this coniferous thing, is a proto blobbity blob.
Right.
And after everything dies down, after the dinosaur, they rebuild the cathedral, and they're going to be like, "Huh, you know what? Ever since that bitch died, no curses."
Yeah. Well, the curses went away.
Oh my God, he's violating him. You didn't want to eat him at all.
What is this
worse.
rated?